can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, downsizing my home was one of the best decisions I have ever made. Has there been challenges? Of course. Am I happy I did it and was it worth it? Absolutely. Downsizing is a relative term depending on where you live in the world or even where you live in the United States. Whether you're living closer to the city or in the suburbs, or you're renting or you're buying, it could be an apartment. It could be a condo. It could be a smaller home. If you're looking to downsize your home, I want you to go into it with your eyes wide open. And that is exactly why I'm sharing the top 10 things that I wish I knew before I moved into my downsized home. One of the most shocking things that I had to contend with when we bought our downsized home is that not everyone would be as enthusiastic as I was. And my friends and family, for instance, some of them thought we were clearly off our rocker because we could afford to live in a bigger home, but we chose not to. So that was absolutely something that I had to deal with that I did not think I would. And so if you do choose the route to move into a downsized home, just know that not everyone is going to agree with you. You have to choose a home that is going to be manageable for you. And if that is not a big home and you want a small home because it's just easier for you to deal with, not only physically, maybe you don't want a big yard to mow, for instance, but maybe also financially, you don't want all of your money to go to this one house. You want to do other things. That is your business. So I want to make sure that even if people are not enthusiastic for you, that you do not change your mind. Don't back down, because I do believe it's one of the very best decisions that you can make in your life is to have a home that fulfills your needs but doesn't over-fulfill your needs. Actually, it doesn't overfill, I guess. Whatever the word, I think you get what I'm saying. Just don't buy a home that's bigger than you need. In fact, buy a home that is just the right size for you. Hi, I'm Bren. I'm so happy you're here. I share weekly videos on simple and minimalist living, decluttering and organizing, creating a cozy home, and ways to live your best life. If you love these topics as much as I do, please subscribe to my channel. This is kind of a funny one, but it has to be said. There might be a line in the bathroom. I can definitely remember times where we were out for the day, and by the time that we got home, everybody poured out of our car and wanted to go straight to the bathroom. If I had to choose the downsized home again, I have 1.5 bathrooms right now. I would actually choose 2 full-size bathrooms if at all possible. A family of 6, I think, can use 2 full bathrooms. If I only had one option, I could only have 1 or 1.5 bathrooms and that was it, would I still choose to downsize my home? Absolutely. It is still worth it. If I had a little bit of wiggle room, I would get 2 bathrooms. Are you thinking about downsizing your home? Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. I am always happy to answer anything that's on your mind. I don't know why I'm coming up with all these funny ones, but it is kind of comical because these things are just life, right? We chose to live in a downsized home, and this is just how it is. As our kids have gotten bigger, they take up more room on our couch. So our couch seems to be getting smaller. And it's just kind of funny because my husband and I will end up on the floor every Wednesday or Thursday whenever we do our family night. Do I mind? Absolutely not. It's not a big deal. But if this is something that would bother you, it is definitely something to pay attention to. Make sure that when you're looking at your downsized home potential options, that you kind of view the family room area and see if you could fit everyone that would normally be there. So if you have 6 members of your family like we do, make sure that there's room for everyone. And there might be room for everyone like us. I mean, you might end up on the floor, but if you don't want to end up on the floor, make sure there is physical space for furniture for everyone to have a seat. But that is a legitimate concern that you might have. And if it is, just make sure that when you're checking out downsized homes, that you might prioritize having a bigger family room versus another room being bigger in your house. One of the things that I do wish I knew before I bought my downsized house was that I might feel a little self-conscious when inviting people over. Because let's face it, downsizing your home is not typical, especially in the United States. Having a smaller home is not something everybody chooses to do. But we did, and we're happy we did it. But that didn't take away the feeling, at the beginning at least, when we would invite people over and we felt just a little self-conscious, like, what are they going to think? They have this giant house that's literally double the square feet that we have, and we're sitting in this smaller home by choice. So for me, those first couple of times, it took a little bit of navigating in my own head. It's not that they felt like that or that they were judging me. It was just me having to adjust to a new way of life and a new way of thinking. And that was perfectly okay. But just be aware that when you choose to downsize your home, you might have those little weird feelings at the beginning where you're a little self-conscious when you invite people over. But don't worry, those will soon all go away. As soon as you start getting your monthly bills and they are so much lower, you won't even think about that kind of stuff anymore, trust me. I did not realize at the beginning when we moved into our downsized home just how much we would have to downsize our possessions as well. In fact, you would laugh so hard if you saw all of the times that our van was pulling out of the driveway and pulling back in and pulling out and pulling back in, headed to the donation center, or how many garage sales that I had trying to part ways with the things that we just didn't need. So one of the things that I wish I knew before I downsized my home is that I could have gotten rid of a lot of these things ever before I moved in here. And I'm glad I realized it afterwards, but you will have to part ways with some of your possessions. There's no doubt about it. So just know that when you downsize your home, your possessions will have to get downsized as well, in all likelihood, unless you're a minimalist already. One of the things that I wish I knew before I downsized my home is that all of the furniture that we had in our big home was not going to fit in our small downsized home. And one prime example was our sectional. Now we have a family of 6, so we chose a huge sectional. And believe it or not, in our previous family room, it looked small. That is how big our old family room was. So I would have never guessed that when we moved into this house that my sectional would not have fit. But let me tell you, we have this sectional. It goes like this. It's an L-shaped sectional. And if we would have left it as is, it would have come out almost into our staircase. So I literally had to ship off one part of my sectional to an upholstery shop to have it chopped into the size that was appropriate for my new family room. And it wasn't as much doing the upholstery kind of job and adjusting the size of the sectional as it would have been if I bought a whole new sectional. And try to find an exact sectional that you're going to like when you're under pressure and you just moved into a new home. That would have also not been a very good solution for us. So I'm super happy that we chose this home. I had to do some things that were outside of the box, like adjust my sectional size. Just know if you are considering downsizing, take some measurements of your furniture when you're looking at houses. And that way you know that if there's something very, very special to you and there's no adjusting it, like maybe you inherited some furniture or you spent some really big money on a dresser or something like that, and it's an absolute, you don't want to get rid of it, you'll know right off the bat if this is a house that's going to be something that you even want to consider. Just know that going in, and you'll choose a house that's just right for you. I love to throw parties. I love inviting people over and celebrating a birthday or a special occasion. But could I fit 75 people inside my house? Well, they would have been packed like sardines if I could. I guess I could. I could fit 75 people in here. It might have not been very comfortable though. Just keep in mind, if you're considering downsizing your home, that you might have to have parties outside. That's what we did. We chose a home that had a really nice patio, a big outdoor space where we could host an event like that. We just would not be able to host it inside as easily. It's something to keep in mind when you're looking for your future downsized home. A lot of you really might want to consider when downsizing your home, and you'll want to be aware of it before choosing your home. And that is if you need a spare bedroom or not. Now for us, we do have family that lives out of town because we relocated, and we do have people every once in a while that visit us. Has it worked out not having a spare bedroom? Yes, it's worked out just fine. There's been times where people might visit and maybe our kids are not home, so the visitors could have their rooms, but a lot of times we just put people downstairs into our extra little family room down there. It's sort of like a little extra space, and we have a half bathroom down there. So we blow up some blow up beds, and nobody has ever complained. If your family members might not want to stay in a blow up bed, and maybe they don't want to stay at a hotel even. Maybe you even have visitors from another country that have to stay on an extended basis, and a hotel would not work out for them. And you really wouldn't want them sleeping on a blow-up bed for any length of time. In that instance, you might want to choose a downsized home that does have a spare bedroom. For us, it wasn't a necessity and it's all worked out good, but it's just something else to keep in mind and be aware of before you buy your downsized home. When I was picking out my downsized home, I never thought that I would need an office space. And then the pandemic happened, and all of a sudden, my husband is working full-time from our home. Well, that posed a little bit of a dilemma, right? Thank goodness we had a kind of one of those multi-function rooms. We use it as our eating area. We have a big table in here. But over the years, we've also used it for the kids to do art in here, or when we have parties, or we're doing any kind of activity where we have things spread out on the table, like coloring Easter eggs or something like that. It is something to keep in mind when you're purchasing a downsized home. Do you want a designated office space? Or is there some place in the home that can be used for multiple purposes? And I really like that option actually, because I like spaces that are used 100% of the time instead of just part-time. And I think a multi-purpose room fits the bill for my family. But if you have a situation where you would not be happy with that, knowing that you need a separate office space might be something you absolutely want to consider when choosing a downsized home. I remember when I first toured this home, I felt like the kitchen was more like a California closet than it was a kitchen. I had not one, but two entryways. So therefore, two spaces where there's no cabinets. And our old kitchen had storage, had the cabinets going straight up to the ceiling, and they were all dark. It literally looked like you were walking into a closet, and yet it was the kitchen. So that was one of the things that I really had to navigate and wrap my mind around. Would I be okay having a small kitchen? Well, eventually the answer was yes. I had 2 years though of living with that kitchen as is, and it was not easy for me, I have to admit it. I never wanted to go into that kitchen and cook. Now, fast forward when we actually redid our kitchen, I just chose light colors to open it up, make it look bigger. I also chose not to have the cabinets go straight up to the ceiling so that it didn't feel like a closet in there. And I just love my kitchen now. I kind of went into it knowing that, hey, this kitchen isn't ideal, but I could change it eventually. And it would be affordable to do it. It's not astronomical to change a kitchen. Now that said, it is an astronomical price to add an addition onto your home. So you have to really make sure that all of the spaces will fit your needs. From like we talked about, the kitchen, the bedroom, even an office area, things like that, the family room on your furniture spectrum. Just make sure that you consider all of those options when choosing your downsized home. So if you need an office space, make sure that you keep that in mind. If you need a kitchen that's a little bit larger, make sure that you keep your eyes open for one that has a larger kitchen. Or family room, if you have furniture that you are not going to want to let go and you don't want to chop like I had to, keep that in mind. If you have primary bedroom furniture, like a king-size bed for instance, I would never ever want to be without my king-size bed. And believe me, when I was looking at some downsized homes, some of them could only fit a queen-size bed. That was an absolute nope, I'm not doing it. And I hope that my list today really opened your eyes to some possibilities that you could be happy in a downsized home. You could make it fit just right for you and your family. It is one of the best decisions that I've ever made. I've never looked back. Even though I've had a challenge or two, it is just something I highly recommend to everyone to consider. Have you downsized your home? Let me know about it in the comments. And if you're thinking about downsizing, leave me a comment and ask me any questions that you like. I'm so happy to answer anything that you have on your mind. If you enjoy this type of content, make sure that you subscribe to my channel. I post a new video every week.